and appreciate the opportunity to present House Bill 830. I think I need to kind of preface the bill with a few remarks kind of on some ideas that I think most of us have in common. The purpose of government, really, if you were to look at the founding documents, is just really to help people live freely and protect their property. America has a strong tradition of protecting people's freedom. It's one that we have two holidays in America, two federal holidays that we observe every year, in which we specifically thank those people that have fought for that right. When it comes to economic freedom, it shouldn't really be any different than any other civil liberty that's protected in our Constitution or that we debate on the House floor every day. And when we talk about, I sat on this committee for 4 years, the Committee on Economic Development, and sometimes in the huge debates and the huge bills that we have in committee or on the House floor, whether it's 3 pages, 30 pages, or 30 million pages, it seems sometimes. Sometimes I think we lose a really simple principle of economic prosperity, and that is that economic prosperity follows the path of least resistance. I was talking with somebody about this in my office earlier today. It always has and it always will. Whether or not you're looking at the oppressive governments, such as the former USSR, in which there was no economic freedom for the people, or whether you look at countries like America that have always encouraged growth and innovation. One thing that I think is a really unfortunate thing that happens from time to time, especially in free countries, from time to time when the legislative process works, from time to time we actually do things that undermine the liberty or the freedom that our country is supposed to protect. And I think that the issue of industrial hemp, which is what House Bill 830 has everything to do with, is just one of those issues. Industrial hemp was outlawed by the federal government, and ever since it was outlawed, we have been successful in locking the people of America out of all kinds of innovation, whether it's been refining plastic, doing things as simple as creating and printing on paper, creating fuels, creating all kinds of goods and services that we could be using, and we have denied ourselves the economic freedom to utilize this extremely important and robust and prosperous cash crop. House Bill 830 seeks to remedy that in the state of Missouri, and then we will be joining several other states that are taking steps in that direction. This is, by large, a highly nonpartisan issue. I remember last year when I sat on this committee, I think it passed with only 1 no vote. When you look at the bills that have been introduced at the federal level to implement similar measures, they've been introduced and co-sponsored by both Republicans and Democrats alike, and I think that's because one area that we all agree on, even though sometimes we disagree on the process, we always do agree on the idea that freedom works for people, and freedom does help make us more prosperous. I'll give you one personal story about what brought my attention to this. I was in the gym working out about 3, maybe 4 years ago, and I noticed 2 guys that were speaking Spanish kind of off to the side of the gym, and so I thought I'd try out my Spanish. A total epic fail there, I'll just preface that. But then as we began talking, I found out that them and their family, they're all from St. Louis. They're all from the St. Louis area, and they own a number of tanning beds and tanning salons in St. Louis. And so I started talking to them about that. I said, well, what part of St. Louis, where do you guys live? I was kind of hoping they might have been constituents. And they said, well, we don't live in St. Louis. We don't live in Missouri. They said, because you see, our other business is we grow industrial hemp. And so we can't do that in Missouri. So we've had to move to a state, and most of our employees that our business has is on our industrial hemp farm, and that's out of state. And they told me, they said, we'd actually love to be able to move back and be closer to our families and employ our friends in the state of Missouri, but we can't because the law prohibits us from growing the raw materials that other people in Missouri are actually refining. You see, we can produce materials made out of industrial hemp, but we have to actually import them from out of the country. And the 2 largest importers of industrial hemp right now are China and Canada. So we're missing out on all those jobs and all that economic opportunity because we've made it illegal for the people in Missouri, the people that have everything to gain from it, made it illegal for them, and we've made it legal for foreign countries who we compete with economically. So with that, I will yield back to the committee and answer any questions about the bill. And I will also let you know that we have a few witnesses that will be testifying tonight, some of which are more technical experts than I am on some of these issues.
Great, thank you, Representative Carpenter. Questions, Representative McNager? Steve?
You and I have spoken about this bill. I think I'm a co-sponsor of this bill.
I better be.
I think a little history would help a lot for the members here. First of all, during several wars, especially since I've grown up all my life along the Mississippi River, hemp just grew wild. And as a matter of fact, the Union Army actually asked all the farmers to, it was demanded in the state of Missouri, as a matter of fact, to grow hemp so that as the Union Army went down the river, they would have material right there to make rope on the spot or several other things that they used, clothing, whatever they needed, out of that material as they were going down the river. Is that not correct, Representative?
I believe that's correct.
And then I think again in World War I, the same thing happened where they actually demanded that farmers grow this product so that we could manufacture clothing and things for the war efforts.
I know that the country is dependent on large amounts of the crop being furnished to help in war efforts.
And then, even though this is a cannabis material, you could smoke this all day long and all you would get is sick. Is that correct?
Industrial hemp is an entirely different plant from the plant that people would smoke to receive a high. Industrial hemp has a THC of 1% or less. And of course, in my bill, I stipulate that the Department of Agriculture would have opportunity to audit the crop to make sure that it's not higher than 0.3%. But you're right, Representative. It actually says in one of the papers that I'll actually hand out to the committee, it says that in a horrible case of mistaken identity, industrial hemp was banned in the effort to prohibit the production of what we would call recreational marijuana. And so you're right, you can smoke this all day long, and I would probably recommend smoking cardboard before smoking anything else.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to bring these facts forward because these are things that people don't understand about industrial hemp. And I think that there was a certain manufacturer of nylon rope that really hurt the hemp production in this country. And
yeah,
I don't want to mention any names, but the company DuPont seems to keep cropping up in this.
Right. Well, as I think there's certainly validity to the argument that there are economic competitors, and this is another problem too. Sometimes people take advantage of our system of laws in order to eliminate people out of the pool of competition.
That was my point.
And one thing that we need to make sure that we strengthen, competition is good. It increases the quality of goods and services, and it drives prices down, so people can. So it makes goods and services affordable for more people. So I think that this bill, allowing people to grow industrial hemp in Missouri, will do a lot for the affordability of goods and services and also for the general economic prosperity of our state.
Well, I'm really hoping that this bill does pass. I think it will do a lot for our agriculture farms in our state, which are always looking for another crop to grow. And I think that we could if we become one of the big producers as we were in the past, I think it'll really help our state economically, and we're always looking for economic ways to make our state grow. So I thank you for bringing this bill forward.
Representative proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm very aware of Kentucky's relatively recent legalization of industrial hemp. Are there any other states kind of in our neighborhood that have also done similar type of legislation recently?
Not entirely sure about exactly how far your idea of neighborhood goes, but Illinois, I got a list of states. I can provide this to the committee. Colorado, obviously, Kentucky, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Maine. I'll provide this whole list to the committee. Utah, Tennessee, South Carolina. There's a number of states, and what's more is these states now are competing with each other for economic activity that Missouri has locked itself out of.
In your view, would it be better if we did this now instead of being like the last state or the 49th state to do it?
Yes, I think that most people that have any experience in the business environment know that it's probably best when you can get out ahead of your competition.
Great, thank you.
Representative Johnson.
To inquire.
Proceed.
You've already answered one of my questions because I did read an article that said it was illegal in the United States for hemp production, but obviously it is legal in some states then, correct?
Correct.
Okay. A couple of other things. It's my understanding the main reason we outlaw it is because it looks just like marijuana. Isn't that the only reason?
I believe so. I mean, as far as I know, of course, I wasn't around in 1937 or some of these other years where they passed bills